Welcome. I am Day of DHB Devotion, Health and Beauty Recovery Network. This is Grief Weekly 365 Meditations by Alan D. Wolfett. Grief One Day at a Time. For the week of February 26th through March 3rd. Fair use. Deposits of unfinished grief reside in more American hearts than I ever imagined. Until these pockets are opened and their contents aired openly, they block unimagined amounts of human growth and potential. They can give rise to bizarre and unexplained behavior, which causes untold internal stress. Robert Kavanaugh. Whenever we lose something or someone important to us, we grieve inside. But sometimes we do not express our grief. Instead of mourning, we carry our grief inside us. We try to wall it in and hope it will heal on its own. The trouble is, grief unexpressed does not heal on its own. Time alone does not heal all wounds, and as we accumulate more loss and unmourned grief, we often find ourselves having trouble with anxiety, depression, relationships, substance abuse, and other issues. Uncovering and expressing all our unmourned griefs leads to profound healing and wellness. The meditation reads, "If I am struggling, I will look to my past for unmourned grief. I will find a compassionate counselor to help me explore, express, and finally heal." February 27. When you do nothing, you feel overwhelmed and powerless. But when you get involved, you feel the sense of hope and accomplishment that comes from knowing you are working to make things better. Pauline R. Kaiser. Many people do little or nothing with their grief, buying into the cultural misconception that it's better to keep their grief to themselves and get over it as quickly as possible. They lock their true thoughts and feelings inside and end up feeling overwhelmed and powerless. But when we get involved with our grief, when we put it in motion through mourning, we feel hopeful. We feel that sense of accomplishment that comes from knowing we are working to make things better for ourselves. That's the sad thing about our culture's grief avoidance. It actually hurts us. Only by engaging with our grief do we heal. The meditation reads, "Today I will get involved with my grief." February 28. Walking with a friend in the dark is better than walking alone in the light. Helen Keller. In the darkness of our grief, true friends can be hard to come by. It's tough spending time with people in mourning. But if we make an effort to connect with someone who has experienced a similar loss, we may find just the support we need right now. A grief buddy is a friend, maybe a new friend, with whom we share a bond of grief. I often call such people our fellow travelers. They too are journeying through the wilderness of grief and would often appreciate some company. Grief buddies can meet for coffee, lunch, a walk, or a golf game. Any activity that allows us to regularly spend time talking together will work. The mutual understanding we can provide one another feels like such a relief. The meditation reads, I'll think about this grief buddy idea today, and I'll take steps toward connecting with someone. March 1st. Life is amazing, and then it's awful, and then it's amazing again. And in between the amazing and the awful, it's ordinary and mundane and routine. Breathe in the amazing. Hold on through the awful, and relax and exhale during the ordinary. That's just living, heartbreaking, soul healing, amazing, awful, ordinary life. And it's breathtakingly beautiful. L.R. Nost. Grief can be awful. Life can be awful in grief. The word awful originally came from awe-full, full of awe. Awe is like wonder, except not as happy. The psychologist Robert Fletchick said awe is a combination of fear and surprise. I guess our grief can be surprisingly fearful. Fearfully surprising too. If we regard our grief with awe instead of disdain, if we respect it instead of trying to ignore it, we're giving it its due. It's hard to hold on through the awful, but it's unavoidable. And with time and effort, that holding on will bring us round to amazing again. The meditation reads, I know that life is both amazing and awful. My privilege at one requires my presence at the other. Fair use. March 2nd. The root of all health is in the brain. The trunk of it is in emotion. The branches and leaves are the body. The flower of health blooms when all parts work together. Kurdish saying. Our grief affects our bodies. We often feel tired, achy, and run down. We might catch viruses more easily, and physical problems we had before the death might get worse. Sometimes we also seem to be feeling the physical symptoms of the person who died. If she died of a brain tumor, for example, we might notice we are having headaches. If he died from a heart attack, we might feel chest pain. While it's important to see a doctor to make sure, what usually is happening is that our bodies are trying to identify with and remain close to the person who died. Don't be shocked if you experience physical symptoms that relate somehow to the person who died. You're not crazy. Your body is simply responding to the loss. As you heal your heart and soul, which I believe are the true root of all health, your body will start to feel better. The meditation reads, My body is grieving too, and deserves gentle care. It misses the person who died. March 3rd. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Reinhold Neubauer, Serenity Prayer. In the storm of grief, serenity often eludes us. We may feel anything but at peace. We may be anxious or afraid. We may feel chaotic, depressed, or regretful. The winds howl and the rains batter us. The thunder and lightning keep us on edge. We yearn for the calm of serenity, and therein lies the paradox. It is in accepting the storm of our grief, which we cannot change, that we move toward serenity. It is in finding the courage to fully experience the storm that we eventually change it. The meditation reads, God, grant me the courage and the wisdom to embrace my grief so that I can move toward serenity. Grief One Day at a Time, 365 Meditations to Help You Heal After Loss by Alan D. Wolfett. Read by me, DAA of DHB, Devotion, Health and Beauty Recovery Network. Like, share, and most of all, be the you that you are created to be, one day at a time, and remember that you are not alone.